Hi, Annie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm really good. Thank you for asking.
I think the last time we talked, I ran into you in Nashville, and we did an interview backstage in your dressing room, and you were in one of the craziest tours, promotional wise, that I think I've ever seen any artist be put through. And I think the word to be used is frazzled was that day. To do this album, and it's such a great album, like, how did you pull this off and not have to do it in such a vacuum that you could have been sucked in from all of this?
How did I do this record not in a and stay standing? I'm a little. You just have to carve out the time. I finished touring in the St. Vincent record in the fall of 2015, and I started writing kind of immediately, which is my way, because I realized I actually don't know what I think or feel until I write it in some way, be it like, an essay or a song. That is really my way to understanding myself. So that was something I kind of needed to do right after I stopped touring, because I wasn't sure how I felt about any of it. And I made a short horror film, which I think really, it was just so nice to do something else, frankly. And I don't know, I guess I'm a person who's always enjoyed work more than fun.
That horror film, I've only seen the trailer, but when I listened to the record, and this is probably somewhat coincidental, but I thought there are moments in this album when the music sounds like it could have been a horror soundtrack.
Well, I mean, I was making a lot of different kinds of music. I mean, this album is what it is because these are the strongest songs, and this is what was supposed to happen and come together eventually working with Jack Antonoff. But I have music for days. I mean, just what people, it's like an iceberg, as a writer, it's like an iceberg, people only see the top, but there's a whole entire world of unheard music underneath it,
I sort of chuckled a little bit when I was listening to a lot of, especially what I was talking about, that type of music, and it comes from a lot of synth, and I said, here's a point in your career where you've created this amazing guitar, and then there's a line on the record where you say, I hold you like a weapon, which I don't know if is a guitar, but I thought about that, and I said, and it's a synth-heavy record.
There is a lot of guitar. It just doesn't, it might not sound exactly like guitar. I mean, I've always done that, where guitar has been a little, gone through the looking glass. I mean, the live show I'm playing constantly. People just might not recognize it as guitar.
Yeah.
But that doesn't bother me. Guitar will always be a strong presence.
Did I get the line right? With
I'll hold you like a weapon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool, and like there's these moments all throughout the record. That's the lyrics are like what you did with the cities and how you tied it into relationship. I mean, you've always had a great knack of these lyrics and to marry this really interesting music. But I feel like this is one of the most poetic records that you've ever done.
Thank you very much. I spent so long making sure that every word was right. When asked about the creative process, which I am, I guess almost daily, it's mysterious to me. These things emerge, and you slowly but surely have this cohesive work that all interlinks with each other. I mean, the song Masseduction more or less lays out all the characters that you meet in the record, and the, I can't turn off what turns me on might as well be the thesis, of the record.
Another line in there, and I feel like this is one of those lines that any artist would really want to avoid explaining, and maybe you feel like it about all your lyrics, but what a bore to be so adored.
I mean, I was thinking about actually a Brian Eno line from Here Come the Warm Jets, where he sings, "Oh, what a burden to be so relied on."
Yeah.
I was thinking of it in that kind of tone, But I will leave it at that.
Well, I mean, I'll say that. I'll say that you grew from this really, you grew from a cult rock icon to being part of celebrity tabloid gossip rags, and I sort of took it a little bit from like, that's got to be weird. That's just got to be a weird point in anybody's life.
It was strange. Yeah, it's a strange thing. What's strangest to me about it, and just the one thing that I'll say about it, is that it's part of the whole thing. A part of the whole celebrity culture thing is this aspect of wealth aspiration and fame aspiration that bums me out, only because what it says to me is that we as a culture and we as government have not taken care of our people. because I think if people were happier, more contented, and it wasn't just the corrosive side of capitalism all the time, then there wouldn't be these false idols. But that's my assessment of it.
Yeah.
but yeah, I got paparazzi'd a time or two, and sometimes, you like are walking out of working out and you have a camel toe or something, it's like, blah, so stupid, but whatever.
Well, I mean, you're to that point. I mean, you're to the point where your lyrics are being seriously analyzed with a fine-tooth comb, and the people are dissecting every part of this because you have this life in the public eye, and it's got to be a big transition for everybody. I know it spells success in the end. I hope it does, for you, because it certainly seems like it does. But just to kind of grasp onto all of that and then work that into the art, it goes back to, your relationship with your audience. And you and I had talked about before as a performer and a manipulator, which, it's, again, how you do it. It's a really interesting way that you've pulled all of this off.
Thank you. Well, I think one aspect of it is that I've gotten more successful in a sort of slow and steady manner, like the tortoise and the hare, or the tortoise in this instance. And so when I was confronted with that, more like super mainstream, like tabloid, whatever, celebrity gossip rag stuff, I knew who I was and I knew who my friends were, and so it wasn't like a tectonic shift in my life. It was just something that I had to kind of figure out where to put it, how to deal with it.
Well, I love the way it's come out. I seriously do. It's my favorite record of the year already, and
awesome.
One of my favorites of yours too. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. And that's our 10 minutes, as I see. So we'll see you in Louisville here in a couple weeks.
Okay, I look forward to it.
All right.
Nice to talk to you again.
You too. Take care.